Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you guys today about roadside assistance. There have been a ton of changes, and I just want to kind of give you guys a little bit of background on my experience with roadside. On the Arise platform, for those who are new here, you're allowed to work as a contractor for a variety of brands. And today I'm going to talk to you about the roadside assistance one. It's one of the oldest contracts on the Arise platform, and it's one that was one of the first contracts that I even worked with. And I don't talk about this often, but you might, if you've been following my videos, hear me allude to some contracts are just not a fit. Allude to having issues with certain contracts and me closing them. Roadside actually was one of those contracts. It was a contract that I ended up closing that contract. And part of the reason was some of the things that I'm going to go through with you here today. But I also got some really good news for you as well. There have been so many improvements to Roadside that I really wanted to take some time to share with you guys, just from my perspective, my experience with all of this. So, like I mentioned, I've been on the Rise platform for probably close to 14 years now. I refuse to do the math. It's been definitely over 10 years at this point. Roadside was one of the first contracts that I worked. And like many people, I liked it because it was 24/7. And as some of you may know, I started this when I was working a full time job. So I was balancing it in between working my full time job at the airline. And so I wanted something that, hey, if I wanted to do a later shift, because our call center where I worked closed at a certain time, I wanted to be able to cover those hours. Sometimes, and I was a bit of a workaholic then as well. Um, I always felt like if I had downtime, then I should be making some money, right? And so I did roadside, and I had a lot of frustrations because I know what it's like to be stuck on the side of the road, and I take a lot of pride in the work that I do. And so the combination of the two just really made me want to just champion for my customers, make sure I'm doing everything right. And 10 plus years ago, guys, that was not always immediately clear. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. I think you'll be really excited to see what has changed. All right, let's talk about it, guys. So, roadside assistance has seen a ton of improvements, as I was saying. And as y'all can tell, I had a bunch of gripes. I had a bunch of gripes. And I was really shocked by this recent training at all of the improvements they have made. And before I hop into it, I just want to make one last note that I think this is a good example of technology working in our favor. There's a lot of conversation about technology taking over, but that is not what I have seen. I have seen more that the more we improve our technology, actually, the more work that is coming available for people. And this is a great example of that and how we work cohesively together. So let's talk about, just a little bit more about what it was like before for those who are not familiar. Now, some of you guys watching, you may be familiar because you may have worked this contract as well. This is, as I mentioned before, I would say probably, actually, I probably didn't mention this. This is one of the most popular ones next to our travel ones. So we have travel contracts the last travel company that listed a contract filled that same day. That's incredibly fast for contracts that list on the platform. But it is one of those things that, people love travel. This particular company is very well known. Some of you might even be able to guess, what company it was, but we're not going to do that here. Our focus here is roadside assistance. The next popular is the roadside because it offers the most scheduling flexibility. Some of the things that we saw, I should say, when I did this over 10 years ago, way too many instructions. I think that was part of my frustration. It was just, there was never a clear, okay, do this to that to this. That's what I need. That's what my brain needs to be able to work, well. And there was just so many different instructions. There's so many different things that need to be done to take care of a client. And it made it so it was very confusing to know what to do next. This also created a lot of angst on if you did everything you needed to do. I take a lot of pride in my work. I take a lot of pride in being able to help people. I am also a single mom, y'all. I've been stuck out on the road, and I know how it feels if I've gotten somebody on the phone and they're real apathetic on this phone. I need you championing for me. And so when I'm on a call, I'm one of those people. I believe in karma. I take care of people because I want good karma out there for myself as well. And also, it's just my nature. I want to make sure people are taken care of. And I struggled at times because some of the calls were just very challenging, and then some of the processes, they didn't help what was already a very stressful situation. Now, this would end up with a very incomplete feeling that would kind of just loom over your head after you clocked out. And I definitely didn't want that, y'all. When I did this before, like I said, I already had a full-time job. So I already had like, the stresses of going in and having to work a full-time job. Now I'm doing a second one. I need this not to like have me burnt out. And that just wasn't the case. I found myself like really stressed. I found myself thinking about calls after work. And that's just not what I wanted out of a contract. I wanted a contract where I could feel like, okay, I'm doing a good job and I'm getting things completed. And also when I clock out, I don't have to think about none of this no more. um, Frustration on if I was doing a good job. I think I always had just a bit of a question out there. And part of that was because you had these long waits for assistance. Now, those of you watching that are familiar with how Arise, works, you already know what I'm speaking about. But for those who are new, let me just tell you, there is assistance and each brand is different. There typically is a chat that you can go into, and then you'll be able to get specific assistance for your question. There are times with Roadside, and I haven't found this with every brand, but with Roadside, the waits would be so painfully long. And when you already have a situation where somebody is already stressed, maybe they got a flat tire, anything, there's the car just cut off. I mean, these things are happening. You know, People are anxious. They want you to get on it immediately. Your calls are not supposed to be very long calls, and then you put on top of that, now you need assistance, and you're having this long wait. I mean, it was insane and it was very frustrating, and honestly it contributed it to as to why I ended up canceling that contract. Now if a contract doesn't work with you for you on the platform, and my agents already know this, I will sometimes encourage you to just, okay, we might need to look at some other options and close this contract, because you don't want to get dropped from a contract. If you get dropped from a contract, that prevents you for a certain period of time from even going to another contract. So sometimes it does become a situation of drop before you get dropped. And you do what you got to do. I'd rather you be able to drop it and hop onto something else that's a better fit than you to stick into something that's going to have you stressed. Okay. But here's the great news, guys. Let me tell you the great news. They have changed all of it. They've gotten rid of all of the chief complaints that I had working this platform, and I'm 100% positive other agents had this concern too, and had these frustrations too. They got rid of the way too many instructions. Everything is very point and click. Click here, do this, ask this. Think of it that way. It is very clear what you're supposed to be doing. All that angst on if you did everything, gone away. Because guess what? The tools are there. They have created some new tools, and they have also implemented AI. So the combination, and for those who are not familiar, AI, you can just, this is what happening. What do I need to do? And it's going to spit out to you in clear language. This. It can't get any easier than that, guys. There's also another tool, also very easy to use, very point and click. You would click each thing that you have done. It's going to strategically ask you the applicable correct questions, and then it's going to spit out in milliseconds, guys. That's extremely fast. As fast as you're clicking, it's going to in milliseconds say you need to do X, Y, Z, and close the call. How about that? I have gone from what I felt 10 plus years ago to a comfort when I get on the calls to do these roadside calls. I have found that I'm not worried about any of the things that I was worried about before. It's so easy, guys, and nobody's talking about this. You guys are hearing it from here first. If you are not working under a call center, I would implore you to consider ours, because I'm always trying to bring you guys this information as quickly as I get it, so that you're on the up and up on what the best contracts are to work. What are the pros and cons? I try to just give you what it is. To me, there's no point in trying to oversell anything to anybody, because guess what? You got to work the contract. There's no point in me lying, because you got to work the contract. People are intelligent beings. I want you to just make an informed decision on whether or not this is for you. And so what it looks like now is what I was just saying: simple, easy to follow instructions. Another thing they've implemented is more practice during class time. So you are going to find that you get more practice calls in than I recall getting when I did it back in the day. There was a complete, you got some, but the focus was a bit different 10 years ago, guys. 10 years ago, to be perfectly honest, guys. There's also a layered on component where you can do additional calls. Now, one of the things with training is that many times agents are like ready to take on some additional hours. Like, when can I get some hours in? And this format now has the training component, and then it's going to have where you can actually just schedule out some hours at your discretion. So it's not like the training, and that the training is that one set time. This will be at your discretion. Hey, you can schedule X amount of hours outside of class time. All revenue based, guys. We never ask you to work without making revenue. So all revenue based. Now you're getting additional calls in, and I'm gonna tell you, it does a world of good. It makes you that much more comfortable once you hit production. And production is simply once you finish training, you've gotten certified, and you're now working your contract. Okay, that's going to speed up your ramp up time. That's going to make sure your metrics are better. That's going to give you actually more scenarios, so that when you go back in class, you can be like, okay, this is what happened. Somebody help me with what I supposed to do with this, or did I do this right? These are the things that we talk about in class when you once you start doing calls. Getting the answers you need. I think if I had any one big gripe, it was so immense, the amount of information. And I won't say the information wasn't there. I'm sure somewhere in the database it was there. I just found it was terribly frustrating. It took me forever to figure out how to find out what to do. And now, when I tell you, I'm boom bam, okay, this is what it is. If a customer is pushing back on certain things, okay, what is this brand's policy on this? I'm no longer unclear on if I'm supposed to push forward or do some additional steps, because there were steps before where you had to get additional authorizations and all this. All of that is way clearer. And you don't want, we know our AHT, our average handling time, all that stuff matters when you're working these contracts, guys. So this helps keep your AHT low. Okay. All of this combined, guys, let me just make it real simple. It makes clarity right in front of you. It makes servicing and working. Now, if you want to work a couple of hours, you can get in there and boom, 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 boom. If you forgot one thing, okay, not a problem. It's all right in front of you. It's honestly pretty beautiful. So, if you are not currently a part of Scale with TARS, which is my staffing firm, and you're looking to get some flexible hours in, then I would implore you to consider working with us. Roadside Assistance is hiring for contractors right now. There is a class that starts this month, August. 2026. Email us at wfh@scalewithtars.com. Okay. Put in the subject line interested in WFH, which is work from home. To recap, what you need to work on the platform is a laptop, a USB headset, and you have to be hardwired into the internet, guys. No VPNs, no Wi Fi. That means Ethernet cord into your modem. That is considered hardwired. Some people have to turn off the Wi Fi on their laptop. It varies. Just look at your laptop or do a quick Google search to figure out so that you can pass your PC check and then pass your assessment. If you can do those things, guys, you can be making some money by the end of this month. Do you hear what I'm saying? Training is paid. Email us to learn more, guys.